Welcome, Bout Betters. As always, since you've clicked, please hit that like button and subscribe. Yes, it's been weeks since I've posted, and admittedly, these have been the worst weeks in wagering I've done. Yes, I've won many bets, and I've altered my strategies. It's not all bad beats. It's part arrogance and ego, though. And I felt that doing research for this content fed that ego, but in reality, it's there regardless. It's easy to assume that you have the sure thing, that your work is going to pay off more so than the odds makers. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. Thus far, for myself, it's been a combination of me following the wrong path, making the wrong decisions, as well as not making the volume bet decisions when I do bet correctly, when there is something obvious like Tai Tuivasa knocking out. I had Tai Tuivasa by finish, but I only sprinkled that. I had Dustin Poirier by finish, but I only sprinkled the finish. I also sprinkled the round one prop, which is why I was so angry at Herb Dean when he didn't call the fight round one. Well, we could complain and whine all we want to. If the ticket doesn't cash, it doesn't cash. So hopefully this weekend, our sure thing is going to be a little different. Islam Makhachev, a minus 670 favorite, soon to be a minus 700 or greater favorite. Overpriced for a sure thing. I already see you throwing this guy into every parlay. But the sure thing to finish round one or two of Sean O'Malley versus Motino last week is what killed me. So, of course, when you're such a favorite, is the expectation to finish? I'm not certain. We have to be careful with our interpretation of the numbers and the odds. It's definitely motivates or influences by the lines. Last event, I was on 5 underdogs, primarily because I consider them good value. But what does that mean? It's very subjective assessment based on stats and fabricated metrics on an outcome that we have done that research for. You can fool yourself into thinking that your fighters what you're thinking in terms of your picks are going to win all the time. I sort of have done that. I've done that by looking at the numbers and saying, hey, this presents my best return on my money. I could justify losing my money based on what my potential winnings are, and that's not right. That's stupid. That's delusionary kind of gambling, and yet I participate in it, and I bet you do too, because I see a lot of people at the casinos that do far worse things than I do, much more amateurish types of plays than I do by far. I wish I could touch more on some of my direct plays, and I need to do that a little bit more and more often. But let's look at why this bout between Islam Makhachev and Thiago Moises is such a sure thing. All right, Islam Makhachev, we already know a lot about him. He trains with Khabib. He's Khabib's direct pupil, so he has that strong wrestling base. While Thiago Moises, both a jiu-jitsu fighter and a striker. You know, a fantastic overall, not necessarily surging fighter, just a sound, solid fighter who probably took this as an opportunity. And I heard him during the press conference. He definitely felt as this is a great opportunity for him. It's a dream come true for him being on the headliner of a UFC fight night. It's fantastic. And I think he got that opportunity because everyone is afraid of Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev is that person standing on the wall that no one wants to dance with, no one likes hanging around with. There's no fun in the guy because there's only one thing that's going to happen when Islam dances with you. So he's not going to let go, basically. So you're not going to be able to dance with anybody else. So how is Islam going to get out on the dance floor and take over? Well, for the first part, he just outskills Thiago Moises in every regard. Looking at striking defense, Islam moves well enough to avoid anything dangerous. The flash potential TKO from Thiago Moises, I think, is out the window in this event. I think Islam just way too smart to fall for something basic such as that. You look at the grappling and striking evasion, and by this I mean staying out of the clinch, circling and moving, changing your angles, feinting a lot more. I think I have to give, this is an area where Thiago Moises, I think, has a slight advantage in that. I think Islam does something does it differently and just does it as well. He just doesn't look as good moving. And there are a lot of people that are like that. They don't look good moving, but if you were in the same arena with them, you'd be wondering, you wouldn't be able to see them. It'd be very interesting. So the counter jiu-jitsu here, I'm going to give to Islam Makhachev. I think if he gets into a vulnerable position, I think the training out there in AKA with all the wrestling, with all the other submission grapplers you have there, as well as the slick jiu-jitsu people that are in camp as well as in that region, it easily prepare Islam for that danger as well. And I think those are the two paths of victory. Easiest for Thiago Moises, that flash KO or the super quick slick submission. I don't think that's going to happen because the counter wrestling as well as the counter jiu-jitsu from Islam, I think is going to win over anything that Thiago does. So offensive movement overall, I think I'm going to give that to Thiago Moises. It might just be vapor that it just, again, Islam doesn't look like he moves well. The offensive jits, you got to give it to Thiago Moises. I think he has more opportunities to grab a limb, possibly a neck, easily can make a reversal. If we see a reversal with Thiago Moises being in a vulnerable grounded position and he reverses Islam, I would freak out. And I think that's a possibility. Thiago moves very well, and the guy wants to survive. And Islam, if he makes any falter, if he makes any bad decisions, Thiago will capitalize on them. But the big thing here is the offensive wrestling. That skill trumps everything else that we've seen here on top here. I think Islam could easily take a couple strikes, change levels, take Thiago Moises down, keep him down for every single round for 3 minutes per round, 4 minutes per round, not do a ton of damage and still win this out by decision. But what I did is I'm playing Islam being very smart, wanting possibly to end this quickly, not to take a lot of damage, not to present himself as a potential risk, because the longer he's in there, the longer Thiago, I think, could possibly flash KO him or grab a sub, potentially more a sub, because I think he's going to take a lot of damage. I think people underestimate Islam's Makhachev striking. It isn't fantastic, but it's going to be just below par of Thiago Moises. So we're going to see Islam strike a little bit, change levels, grapple, and hopefully grab that finish. So yes, it's a risk. Islam Makhachev is not typically a finisher, but in this instance, I was confident enough to place a little bit larger of my normal wager on a prop bet that outcome happens. Because of the price of Islam Makhachev, I really didn't see where I could use him as a parlay leg, because I believe he only added like a plus 50 points on any parlay that you would use him in. So I don't really see any value in adding him to any parlays. So I felt the best bet for me for that particular matchup was that prop bet. So again, thanks for anybody that's sat through this. Please hit the like button, subscribe. I will make a couple of more of these pieces here, focusing primarily on the bouts that I already have made bets on. So look forward to those. Look forward to seeing or hearing from anyone in the comments. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.